Welcome everybody to this recap of episode 28 of Unravel. We happen to have overlooked some audio problems during the actual recording. So while we streamed, we didn't get the sound of the players. And that's the reason why we're doing this for now. Episode 28, you would only be able to hear me. We're going to have some shots of the actual game throughout this video, but I'll be quickly recapping everything that has happened so that you would be up to date if you're going to be watching the next episode, episode 29. So, to recap on what happened in the last episode, Ned, Frederick, Lockett, and Thyris, after discovering Virtue was missing, landed their ship on the island they found in the center of this clearing within the fog. This small island had a black stone beach with a massive stone cliff. In that cliff there was a big cave about 50 feet wide, which was the cave they were looking for. They docked their ship and entered the cave. They noticed very quickly while walking through that the cave had some patches of thick, greenish, sticky slime as they walked through, indicating that some creature was living here, possibly the one they were looking for. The party soon encountered the first creatures that inhabited this cave. They found a group of fish-like humanoids who, upon the first encounter, tried to capture them with nets and men catchers. The party dealt with them swiftly, and after a short rest they continue on further into the cave. Not long after, they noticed a foul stench taking over the air, and the party discovered through an arch in the side of the cave there was a larger room split into two halves. On one half there was piles and piles of humanoid skeletons with acidic burns, some corroded metals. On the other side, the same fish-like humanoids they fought before with the same acidic type burns, but laid out more carefully. On the other side of that same room, there was a small tunnel that continued on, smaller than the cave they've been walking through before, but still cave-like. The party decided they would follow that tunnel later, and they continued going through the main cave at first. They found in the end of it, a thick carpet of moss, which eventually led to a dead end. There they found a water-like bubble under the patch of moss. The party discussed about what it could be, later finding out that through Thyris' divine sense, as a paladin, the moss and especially the bubble was giving off a fiendish essence. They discussed that it could possibly be an egg of some kind. Ned later decided to shoot the bubble with his crossbow, creating a small hole in it. Once the bolt hit, a puff of greenish-like smoke, like spores out of a mushroom, sprouted out from that hole. Lockett looked through the hole to see what would be on the other side, and rather than expecting it to be an egg, she saw a whole other world there, and someone walking slowly towards the hole they had created. Thyris, upon hearing this, put his foot on the hole to cover it up, but while doing that, the saggy moss started to tear slightly, so he took his foot off to make sure that it wouldn't rip completely. Two long fingers with too many pieces of its too many finger pieces with long nails pushed their way through the hole and started tearing it on either side. Thyris, at this point, trying to cut off the fingers, slashed at them, but he managed to cut off the fingers, but at the same time rip a large cut in the bubble, which made it burst green gas in every direction. The party booked it, but later they returned to see three goat-headed creatures standing where the bubble once was. Now seeing there's a large rift in the space where it was. Looking through it, they could see a vast landscape, the same one that Lockett saw before, of moss and fungus that was growing much larger. This was some kind of portal, they found out. The party decided this would be a problem for a later date, and they decided to go through the tunnel, which they found in a room where the bodies were laid out. In that tunnel, they encountered a 20-foot thick perforated wall, very much like a portcullis, but made out of stone. They saw the outer body slime that the fish people had on them, on the sides of this stone, and they all decided to carefully crawl through. Lockett having a very hard time at this, with her, for the first time revealing that her claustrophobia is kind of a problem, as she got almost stuck within the rocks. This dense, tunnels that were crawling through, that they were having to push themselves through, got here at that point. The tunnel became larger after they got through, and at one point they encountered a smooth stone wall, which seemed to be more carved than naturally created. And in front of it, a few more of those same type of fish people. They talked with the fish people, who appeared to be eager to capture them, just as the ones were before, but because they talked to it, they found out that they were wanting to sacrifice them, mentioning that if they were invited, they would get through. The party currently unable to understand what that exactly meant. Though the fish people wanted to capture them, the party did not allow this, and they killed all of the fish people except for one who managed to escape, running through the wall. The party imagined these guys having something special on them which allowed them to go through the wall, because the party itself, once they got to the wall, they felt some kind of magnetic field pushing them back whenever they tried to push anything through. First, they tried to cover themselves in the outer body slime that the fishermen had and pushed their hand through. Didn't work. Later, the Thyros decided to gut one and cover himself in the blood. Lockett did the same thing, and they ran through and made it through. At that point, Frederick, not willing to cover himself in the same type of blood, just decided without the blood to try and run through. And it worked as well, finding out that he would have to move at a certain speed to get through rather than being covered in a certain thing. After this, they tried to follow the one guy that ran away from them, later coming across a gargantuan insect that was crossing their path, going from one crack in the wall over them just about 20 feet away and disappearing in another one. The party's completely still, ignoring it, managing to also not attract any attention from it, and it continued on. Nothing happened. They continued on for a little longer and noticed that all the walls around them were completely perforated, very much in the same way that the wall they crawled through, although a little smaller, not big enough for them to be able to crawl through, so they had to follow the main tunnel. They decided that this would be a good point for them to start taking a long rest. There wasn't much of cover here, but they found a large rock behind which they hid for the night, and that's where they're going to try and attempt to have a full rest. And that's where we ended the episode, and that's where we're going to be picking up next week at episode 29. Thank you guys for watching this recap. I will probably recap a little smaller at the beginning of the 29th episode, but that's basically what happened and what you guys missed. There were some shots from the actual game, so yes, we did play it. Aside from that, there wasn't much that happened, although it's too bad that we missed it, and we're going to pay attention to never having the same mistake happen again. So, thank you for watching, and I hope we will see you back at episode 29, which will be live streamed this Saturday on our Twitch channel, link down in the description below, and on our homepage. If you're interested, feel free to come check it out. I sure hope we can get some more attention to the game, because we are all putting a lot of effort into it. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we will see you at our next live stream. Goodbye!